Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today's going to be a video that perhaps nobody really wanted me to make, but I do feel that perhaps some people would benefit of having this video made. And I do want to talk about, aggressive spending in Malcolms of Champions, the spending craze, the spending culture that we ourselves as a community have created around this game. And don't get me wrong, there are perfectly fine and positive sides and aspects to it. If you view this as your hobby, there's nothing wrong in spending money on it if you can afford it. Or alternatively, obviously, July offers also present you an opportunity to spend your hard-grinded units and, benefit a lot from your in-game accounts and increase your progression. And all of those are beautiful, beautiful things. This video is not meant to shame anybody from spending if you feel like you want to, if you can afford it, if it doesn't cause you any problems in your personal life. This video, I will share my own story with things like this, and also just focus on a thing that nobody ever mentions. In mobile games, Malcolms of Champions included, but not just Malcolms of Champions included, have created an entire culture about monetization and aggressive monetization. If you think about it, if you really think about it, when we buy an Xbox game, we might pay $50 or $40 or $70 up front, and for most part, often that is pretty much it. You play through the game and then you get to the next one. This game successfully often from many people gets hundreds of dollars a month, thousands of dollars a year. And not just the whales. There are many people who play this game and, casually and buy $50 offer, every week or every other week. And that adds up to be a lot of money. Especially right now, if you take a look at the forums, everybody's talking about July 4th and July 4th deals. And again, this video is not meant to be a downer video, quite opposite, quite on the contrary. It's meant to be somewhat of maybe not necessarily an advice, but just a warning that at the end of the day, this is still a game. And if this game and purchase in this game make you have compromises in your life, if you end up finding yourself a discussion, should we go to holiday or should I get this? Or should I maybe, I don't know, buy a new desk or chair or couch, or should I get offers? If you do not have that disposable income, and you're still extremely, extremely tempted to purchase things in this game, perhaps far beyond your can, it can lead to a huge amount of problems in your personal lives. And we, as a community, largely have chosen not to talk about it, not to address, pretend that it doesn't exist. Now, occasionally, every now and then, we see a glimpse, a story somewhere on Reddit. A few years back, we heard a story about a husband who spent $50,000 in a month on gifting crystals and stuff like that. But largely, nobody even wants to share these stories. I have heard maybe 10, 15 people across the 7 years. But I guarantee you, this situation happens to thousands and thousands of people playing this game every single month. Every other new champion release that's hyped up, every one of these bigger sales offers, every year around Christmas and gifting, people do overspend. People spend far beyond their can and cause themselves huge problems in their real lives. And one of the most shameful things about this community, in my opinion, is the fact that we never, ever, ever talk about it. We never address it. And the reason why we don't is because we shame each other for it. There will always be this person occupying the moral high ground and saying, what kind of idiot are you to do this? Don't you have any understanding of how much money means? Or, why would you possibly do that? And instead of approaching it, from kind of like supporting and, just from a side where you just, listen to the person's story, and you take it as a warning, you try to learn from it. Instead of doing any of that, I consistently see, whenever there's even a glimpse and a mention of that, people being shamed for doing that. That's making them feeling even worse. So we have somebody who, snapped, bought 300 cow crystals when he couldn't afford it. And, even if he mentions it in any chat room, then there's going to be 50 people calling him an idiot. What kind of a loser does that? Don't you understand anything from life? And you make a person who already feels extremely shit about themselves feel even more shit. Thus, first of all, you discourage that person and anybody else ever sharing these stories, advising, or looking for help, for instance, because they're always, kind of intimidated from that. And second of all, we just bury the problem. We pretend it doesn't exist. It does. Now, here is a video that's about 5 years old. Let's go whaling. I'm going to leave a link to it. Do yourself a favor and take the 20 minutes and watch it. It's going to explain exactly all of these psychological tactics that Kabam and, every major mobile game use to monetize themselves. They play with our emotions. They play with our perception of importance. They refuse, they discourage us to put things in perspective, that one Odin can be equal of, 2 weeks worth of food, for instance, or 3 Odins can be equal a nice weekend getaway with your significant partner. And all of those things, when you put them in real life circumstances, are way, way more important than some catalysts. And I say that because I know it. I have done those things to myself. I have spent money on this game that I couldn't afford to spend on this game, and felt disgusting and disgusted by myself afterwards. I have created tension in my relationships. I have created tension and problems in my life that, thankfully, one way or another, I have managed to get over, past, and through, and it hasn't completely ruined me. But to get out of that, it also took years of adjusting myself, of thinking about these things and working on it. And even right now, when I'm fully well aware of exactly what Kabam is doing, I do at times struggle finding this balance in between creating content for this game and viewing spending money on this game as an actual money expense, because there's always a justification at the back of my head, because this is how I make my living now, that, this is the direction of my channel that I have chosen to go to, because I always want to be, up top, up front. Whenever new content gets released, I want to make a guide. I want to discuss it. Whenever new champions come out, I want to, have access to them relatively early in order to showcase them, in order to give a proper evaluation for them in ranking videos. Whenever anything happens in the game, I want to be up high. And for my own personal perspective, I have definitely learned to try and spend the minimum amount possible to kind of like maintain my overall position in the game, not to, fall behind in prestige in my alliance and having to downgrade to alliance, not to fall behind, one way, shape, or another. And I don't have to. That's a choice I make, and that's and automatically, because of that, that's a justification that I give myself because of the choice that I have made. And I understand it, and I do try to work on it the best I can. But again, even right now, recording this video, I cannot lie. Definitely, even relatively recently, most notably, specifically with Omega Sentinel cabs, I absolutely shafted myself over by, being blinded by the desire to acquire this new 6-star champion, which I knew fully well that eventually I'm probably going to get anyways, especially if I keep playing this game active, but I wanted it now. And there is a point when you look at your bank balance and you think, okay, I can afford an Odin, and you open Odin and nothing happens. And then you, okay, sod it, I'll open Black Panther's treasures. And you open another 5 caps and nothing happens. And then you're frustrated about, how worthless £150 have been, that you lose the sense of that it was actual money, and you just keep going and keep going and keep going. And I genuinely did screw myself over as recently as that. That was the only time in, recent times when I have done it to myself, but some years ago, I definitely struggled with it much more. And it is not an easy thing when you keep playing this game and you're consistently exposed to this game, to control yourself, to manage yourself. Some people find it easier, some people find it harder. But I definitely want to make sure that people are aware that it's not just you, that there are tons of people who are having similar issues, who have screwed themselves over in a similar way. And at least on this channel, at least with me, you can definitely come and talk about it. Now, I also fully understand that no matter what I say for the rest of the video, I already will have 20, 30, 40 people in comment section saying, I'm an idiot, or you say one thing, you do another, and you're going to keep spending, completely ignoring half of the video of what I have talked about. And there's going to be plenty of blowback, and I want to make it perfectly clear. I think if you have the ability to spend whatever amount of disposable income you can on this game, do it. Play this game however you want. Spend it, don't spend it. Nothing to do with me. But at the same time, I want to definitely reach out to those people who often end up spending money that they might not necessarily have or can't afford to spend on this game, and struggle with that. Because there are lots and lots of people like that. And I most certainly have been one of them. And, you know, it takes a fair bit of effort not to get myself in that position again. Especially, obviously, when you see sometimes your teammates, you know, going for crazy openings and all of that temptation in front of yourself, which is by design here. Kabam always does these things by design. That's why check out the video that is pinned in the description. You're going to recognize a whole ton of manipulation that Kabam is, you know, actively using from this entire thing. And perhaps it's going to be enough to give you some food for thought. If it isn't, come by stream, talk with me, drop me a message, reach out to me. And, you know, by sharing those stories, sometimes it becomes easier. Sometimes you might just need somebody to put things in perspective as well. And, you know, if I can prevent at least a few people from screwing themselves over in this game or another game, I'll happily try my best to do so. Just enjoy your game, know your limits, and most importantly, do not lose the perspective of the dollars on your bank account and the units in this game, or catalysts in this game. See you guys. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the next